Hello world and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are looking at the energies of your next week. This is a weekly pick a card that I do. This is timeless, so if none of these piles resonate for you, I have a link down below to my other weekly pick a cards, and this is for like the next 5 to 7 days. It's good for whenever you discover it. Today we have 3 piles as always, and this is where you get to use your intuition to pick the pile number or object. I will be placing objects here in a moment that resonate with you so that I can then use my intuition to read those cards for you. The objects this week are, I will show them to you. It's depression glass. So I picked these objects this week because this is a set. It's cherry blossom glass dishes. Depression glass was made, it was manufactured from like in the 1930s. So hence the depression in the United States. And I picked these because unfortunately last week my grandmother passed away and she gave me these. So that's why I'm using them. Each pile has a different piece. So this is the teacup. And then for pile number 2, we have the saucer. And then pile number 3, this is I'll put it over here so you can see it because it's glass. This is a little pitcher. I think this was for like a creamer. So the pattern is cherry blossom, and there's little cherries in the bottom there, if you can see that. I'm gonna go put this on group 3. So if you're still not certain which pile number or object is for you, let's do a breathing exercise. I'm going to close my eyes. So I invite you to do that as well. And I'm going to breathe in, take a deep breath in. Release any tension, release any worries, set the intention of hearing the messages that you need to know for next week. And go ahead and open your eyes, and wherever your eyes are drawn, that is the group for you. The timestamps are down below in the description, and I will meet you at your reading. Thank you so much. Hello, group 1. If you picked the teacup, you are in the right spot. I think I'll put that there. And the first card that comes out for you for next week's energy, overall kind of energy for next week, we have 43 transition. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. So we're always thinking about the better, right? We always want something better. We always want to move towards something better. But what keeps us from that so many times is us holding on to the past, right? But it's a journey. It's a journey to get to somewhere better. Sometimes it's very quick. Sometimes the universe does it for us. Sometimes it is a process of, an easy process to look at, and that many of us have all been through is, going to school. You look at that, how many years you spend in school, like my kids, my daughter's in 1st grade, and thinking about that time frame being forever. And how are you ever going to get there? Well, it's just a day-by-day thing. It's just and sometimes you regress, but as long as you keep, doing things with consistency, showing up every day, you can go and make that positive change and that transition that you're looking for. So think about where you are and where you want to be, and do something today that your future self will thank you for, or do something this week your future self will thank you for. Get my cards out here. What else do we have for group 1? Okay, very, very interesting. So much, I feel like there's a lot of resistance here for you, just because we've got the Knight of Swords reversed and we've got the Ace of Swords reversed. And we have the World and we've got also the Ten of Wands. I almost feel like it should read something like this, especially when we have transition. And I feel like this part here is being in the kind of the thick of it, the not lifting your head up and seeing the end result of where you want to be and where you want to go. The World is the end. The World is everything that you're looking for, and it's so connected to this transition card, because the end of something is the beginning of something else, right? We also have the Ten of Wands here, which is also an ending card. Tens are like the end of something, the end of a process. You know, in tarot, we go from 1 to 10, Ace being the beginning, 10 being the end. And all of the 10 cards, not all of them, but a lot of the 10 cards indicate like something very heavy on you. Okay, well, the Ten of Wands and the Ten of Swords, we'll say that. Something very heavy, and something that you've been picking up and taking with you and is becoming cumbersome and burdensome. And it is something that along the way, like you're like, yeah, I can do that. Or, you know, if you're thinking about your work situation and you're just picking up little tasks here and there. Oh yeah, no, you can add that on, or I can do that, or I can do that, or I can do that. And if you're a serial people pleaser like I am, you think that it's no problem. And most of these tasks are just tiny little things, and yeah, that'll just take me 5 minutes. But it's you have been collecting them and keep collecting them and keep doing them, and then it after a while, it's something that weighs you down. So this week is a week to think about those things that are weighing you down, to think about those things that are holding you back from this freedom. And even if you look at just these two cards that come out, I mean, you're carrying like this heavy load versus this overall like, freedom, like this stretching out, this now I'm free to move, like it's so much lighter. Now, these tasks, I'm thankful for these tasks, right? There's learning involved. There is, you're working out, you're expressing yourself, you're getting stronger, you're learning more things. But at some point, if you want to move from like this position to this position, you're gonna have to let some things go, because these are not the same 2 points. And transition is moving you from one point to the next. You can take your skill, you can take your ability, you can take your knowledge with you. But I feel like what's being resistant here, or Knight of Swords can talk about a couple things. First of all, is that this isn't a quick and easy thing. And I feel like it's not something that's been coming on very quickly anyway when we've got the Ten of Wands. This is a card of like keeping your nose to the grindstone. This is a card of like you just putting one foot in front of the other, you being in this, kind of like, I don't want to say rut, but certainly in a routine. And transition kind of, if you're here and you want to end up over here, you know, with the World, maybe you do need to, you know, suck it up and take on some things and take on some responsibilities for a while. Let's say that you want to get your degree, but you have all of these bills to pay. You know, that would be definitely a Ten of Wands situation where you're taking on the, you know, your job and all of these classes, and you're just piling it on yourself, and you're piling on these responsibilities all at once. As long as the point or the goal of it that you do have an end game, if you haven't thought that out if you haven't thought out that end game and where you want to be and where you want to transfer, then you're just taking on responsibilities and things to take them on without any real purpose or goal and any real reason. And a lot of times as we go through life, that happens. Sometimes we take on responsibilities and goals, and we do have to sit down for a moment and think about, well, does this still serve me? Would it be better if I did something else? As an example, like as a mom, maybe you wanted to do, make your kids lunch every day, for instance. After a time, has that become burdensome? Can you get them involved? Can they make their own lunch? Is school lunch really that bad? Is there easier ways for you to handle that? Especially if you're feeling overwhelmed. And maybe that's not. Maybe nutrition is like your number one goal for your kids. Nope, this is something that I'm going to continue to keep as my task. But is there someplace else that, you can ask for help? And I often think of the Ten of Wands as like asking for help, because personally I'm somebody, and I almost feel like this too, especially when we have got these Two Swords cards reversed, that you might be somebody who doesn't want to communicate that, or it's difficult for you to say, hey, I need help. But I feel like that's going to really help you, because I feel like this Knight of Swords and the Ace of Swords are here kind of not necessarily as an obstacle, but certainly something that's holding you back, that you've got some communication that you don't. And it could even just be communication within your own mind, that you haven't sketched out your path. You don't really, you don't want to be stuck in this Ten of Wands energy forever. We want to eventually get to this world where we feel like we've completed something, where we feel like we've gone somewhere, that you feel like you are achieving your dreams, because that's really what transition is about. But that's the scary part, right? That's the part of change and transition that we don't really know, and or we are afraid of. We're just like, maybe I'm not certainly happy where I'm at. Maybe I do want to make some changes, but it's kind of scary to take on all that burden. So I feel like thinking these things out and being very logical with that is going to be an obstacle for you. I feel like maybe you finding the knowledge that you're really looking for is part of the obstacle. And I also feel like that when the transition isn't instant, when it isn't coming as quickly as you think it would, because this is air energy reverse, like these move super, super quickly, but then they're in reverse. I feel like we're slowing some things down. So understand that this is what you want to do, what your goals are, a process. Transition, yeah, it can be scary, but what's even scarier? Regret. I don't want you to, this is a really great week to, let's put some plans in place and look with that final goal, because I feel like if you do that, you're going to be successful. The world speaks to that. The world speaks to an ending. It speaks to being successful. It speaks to taking, and especially when we've got the Ten of Wands in the world here, I feel like, you might be resistant to taking on these new burdens, and you think about it and you're like, I don't know. And in fact, I have, like, my husband came up to me with an idea, like a business idea this morning, and I'm like, that's a great idea, but I'm like being really resistant to it because I know that it's going to be some work. But you know what? The end goal of what he told me sounds pretty interesting. So maybe I should take my own advice here and understand that we might have to put in a little bit of work, but is it going to be something that's forever? No. Can we think it through and create a process and steps to where it's going to be fruitful? Yeah, absolutely we can. And then the final two cards that came out for you for this week, group one, we have She Who Dreams, Isra, escape, dreams, fantasy. So I feel like sometimes the reality of things might hold you back. from achieving your dreams. But I feel like that this comes in because your dreams are achievable and you can make your dreams reality. Now, when we get into like the nitty gritty steps of making your dreams reality, what can be helpful is to keep things light, to keep things joyful, especially the escape part here, right? Listen to some music. You know, if you have to clean the whole house, let's make it a party. Let's listen to some music. Maybe you have a book on, you know, an audio book that you want to listen to, and it's, you know, you can basically kill two birds with one stone, where you can listen to your audio book while you're putting in this work. And the work can be also very physical work. It can be like cleaning up your yard, or, you know, maybe you need to start putting in some work on your body because you want to lose weight. So the way that you get there is keeping like this end point in mind, your overall dreams, because I feel like dreams and transition in the world very much, and even the flow here, it very much, you know, like a story here for your week. And don't let, sometimes we think we're being logical and we're like, okay, well, that will never happen, or okay, but I need to get back to reality. When in fact, like you need to understand that you're the one who creates your reality. And if somebody else has done it, which I'm guessing if you're dreaming about it, somebody else has done it, that means you can do it too. There's nothing so special about somebody else that you can't achieve what they have achieved. Okay? And then she who grants wishes, Iris? Okay, we're gonna go with that. Wish, desires, and hope. So I love this too, both of these, and I love the purples very much going into this transition. You know, purple is the color of the divine. Purple is the crown chakra, and it is just a really beautiful color that I'm just, you know, using to connect these cards here too. That a lot of times, you know, we get frightened or we get stuck on these transitions and the steps that we know that we need to take. But I feel like you have to just keep your desires and your hopes keep them in your mind, keep that end goal in mind. I feel like you can be really, really successful. Don't talk yourself out of it. Understand that you might have to put some work into this. That's okay, because it's not going to be forever. You're going to get where you want to go. It's kind of like, it's so much reminiscent of, you know, you getting your degree and you're just in the middle of things and you're like, this is never going to happen. This is never going to happen. But yeah, if you stick to the program, if you stick to what you're doing, it will happen. You just have to keep showing up every single day and have the commitment to do that. And I feel like sometimes our dreams and our hopes and our wishes and our desires can be like a distraction from that. But in this case, I feel like you really need to use those as inspiration, because you're trying to talk yourself out of doing it. You're trying to say, oh, I'm fine here. But again, I feel like this is something that if you don't put it in place, that you are going to regret it later. And I don't want you to do that, because you're absolutely capable of manifesting all of your dreams and desires. You just have to go through that transition process. The other thing about transition that's interesting is we always feel like we're like in this point in space and time, like stable, right? But the thing is the only thing that is constant is change. The only thing that is constant is transition. We're already moving. We're already evolving. We're already going through these transitions. So you may as well pick up the reins of that and control your destiny and control where you want to go. So I love you, Group 1. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope this resonated, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Thank you so much. Hello, Group 2. If you picked the little plate, you are in the right spot. And let's see what we have for you. So the first card that came out for you for the overall energy of your next week is 16 conception. The frequency of conception invites us to bring our consciousness to our origin, the place where everything in creation begins. It helps to remember the infinite potential and possibilities of this space and what we can manifest through our own focus, awareness, and intention. So I feel like, well, a couple things. First of all, let's look at the card a little bit more in depth. I don't know if you can see this, but there is, little heartbeats in here. It like runs through, there's a line that kind of runs through like a baseline, and then the heartbeat and a heartbeat and a heartbeat. And it feels like, your heart chakra and can be really important, when I see that. But I also, like, the conception is the beginning. Remembering who you are, remembering your power, remembering that you're made of star stuff. I think a lot of times we go through life and, we just are existing, and all of this baggage keeps happening and all of this crap. And we need to remember who we are, who you are. It kind of reminds me of, if you've seen the movie The Incredibles, the Disney movie, where Elastigirl, she finds out that Mr. Incredible is gone and he was lying to her and he was being like a superhero on the side, and there might be another woman involved, and she's like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And she's talking to the fashion designer Edna, and Edna just like smacks her, and she's like, you are Elastigirl, you need to remember who you are. Like, are you kidding me? Like, why are you in this, like, you're a superhero. You are you're a badass. Why are we even having this conversation? Go out and do something about it. And I feel like this is kind of like, let's get out of our funk here. Let's remember, all of the like, how do we even exist right now through it's gotta be like this crazy, just thinking about that, like all of these coincidences that went into our existence at this moment, and there's a purpose for it. Like, you were absolutely necessary, you were absolutely needed, and that's because of what you were made of. And let's go back to remembering that, and what we are made of is incredible, because we're made of the same substance. Like, you're made of the same substance as somebody who you've put on a pedestal. You are made of the same substance as the sun, as the stars, as the universe. You are infinite. And I feel like, it's time to get some inspiration from that. I also kind of feel like, conception and kind of like, in the beginning, there's nothingness. Like, maybe some meditation might help you out as well, because I almost feel like you need to clear your mind of some clutter and let those things go. And like, somebody needs to smack you across the face. This is your smack across the face to remember who you are. And I think I'm going to link that clip down below in the description too, because that's one of my favorite things. Like, I actually occasionally will go off the deep end, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about this situation? And then I'm like, I think about that. I'm like, yeah, well, what am I going to do about this situation? I'm a pretty amazing person. I can handle this. And I feel like most people are more amazing than they give themselves credit for. And you are as well. You're pretty amazing. So let's get the rest of the cards out here. Okay, so what we have is the Seven of Pentacles, Eight of Cups reversed, the Emperor reversed, and the Queen of Swords reversed. I feel like you've been really hard on yourself, and I feel like maybe you've gone down a path that other people wouldn't have been brave enough to do. And you put a lot of time and effort and energy into it, and I'm not sure, like, I don't know if it's not come out the way that you expected, or you feel like, you know, you've just really invested a lot of things. And when the Seven of Pentacles comes out, I feel like I always, not always, but a lot of times, and I'm hearing it now, I hear Tom Petty singing, the waiting is the hardest part. And that's what I feel like with the Seven of Pentacles. Like you've put in, like it's 70% there, like it's almost there. Don't walk away now. That's what the Eight of Cups reverse is saying. Like, don't walk away now. You almost have this. You almost have it. Now, if it's not coming out exactly the way that you think that it should, I feel like conception is really important to kind of like walk back your steps, go back to like, not necessarily go back to the drawing board, but maybe your original intent and purpose in this that might help you to find your enthusiasm for it. It might help you to find your passion for it, because I feel like there might be some like negative thoughts rolling around in your head, and I feel like you need to really kind of fill your head with these positive thoughts of what you're doing and where you're going. Now, this could be a business, this could be even like a relationship, and not necessarily, other than the Queen of Swords, like it really feels like there's a lot of communication issues next week. I feel like you need to be honest with yourself where you are, but not in a negative way. I think you really need to be, because I feel like there's just like I said, some negative thoughts going around. And when we also have the Emperor in reverse too, I feel like there's some like underlying anger, some underlying disappointment, because you thought that you were on the right track. And I still feel like you are, especially when we've got like, but I feel like you think that you should be done with this by now, and you're not. It's, like I said, 70% of the way there. You're almost there. Remember why you started this off in the first place. Go back and remember who you are. I feel like you just need a little bit more, and you're weaning here to like the negative. You just need a little bit more of a push in the positive direction to make it come out. The Emperor in reverse and the Queen of Swords in reverse might be some like naysayers on the side over here too. And remember that it is kind of easier. It's way easier for somebody to just jump in the middle of your process and start criticizing you when they don't understand where you come from to begin with. And a lot of the naysayers are like that. If you look at anybody's comments on the internet, like it's so easy to tear somebody down. It's much harder to build people up. And I'm also getting the message here of don't take advice. I mean, don't take criticism from anybody you wouldn't take advice from. Okay? Because I feel like these two people, if you are receiving criticism, and this is representative of that criticism, these are people who have like a higher value on their opinion than they really should. Like there's somebody who just has not walked in your shoes. They don't understand your ideas. It's really difficult to be a visionary. Like it's one thing to come out and have something like completed and people go, oh, wow. But when you're in the middle of your process doing it, like expect that you're going to have people who are confused, and don't take on their, because everybody sees the world through their own lens. And these are probably people who wouldn't take the risks that you would, who don't even have the vision that you do. And in fact, the cards are reversed, so they don't. So if you're receiving criticism for this thing that you're in, don't allow that to really kind of creep in and knock you off of your path and knock you off of where you go. You're not done yet. You're not done. And you really need to remember why you started and find that passion for your project again, because it is actually in this part where you're almost done. You have you have that enthusiasm, that initial enthusiasm for your idea, and then you get rolling and you get going and you've overcome a couple obstacles, and you're like, it's almost like this part is the hardest part. right? But you've put in so much work. It is just almost there. Like, it's so close. It's so within reach. And you might just need to go back to the beginning of your project to find that enthusiasm again, right? That passion, and let these, let them do their own thing. They're not creating anything. They're not doing anything. You're not criticizing them. Block them if you have to, because you need to keep going on this. And remember, this is just the energy for the next week. This project could be like a long-term thing. And I feel like you're just going to get through it. Like, this is just one more little obstacle, and don't let it be bigger than it needs to be. I'm just going to get 2 more cards of advice here for us. The first one that comes out is She Who Resists. Fearless, justified resistance. And you need to resist. You need to resist this urge to listen to the naysayers. You need to resist maybe even your own creeping in doubts. You just need to stick with it and keep going. You are a fierce warrior, and it's within you. It's really interesting too. I'm just seeing this. She's got like a bee here, and she has got a butterfly. So I feel like there is this, whatever you're doing, it's going to turn out beautiful. The end result is going to be beautiful. And it really reminds me of the butterfly too. Like, if the butterfly, they go from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Like, that is an amazing transformation. And in the middle of that process, right, they wrap themselves up in a chrysalis, and their body is like completely liquefied to reform. Now, if we looked at that 70% through that process, we would say, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, why did that butterfly do that? They had an amazing life, but they wanted to fly. That's why. And they understood who they were, and they were honest about that. And then She Who Divines, Futura, future choice and judgment. Trust your own judgment. I love that the judgment came in here because judgment, the judgment of others, and when they look at you, or let that judgment be their own. Don't let it influence you. It's one thing if they come in with constructive criticism and you are like, yeah, you know what, you run that past your intuition, like, yes, you know what, that's a good idea, and I think that'll get me to my end spot. But most of the time it's not that. And again, they're seeing the world through their own filter, and they would never take the risks that you're doing. They would never have the initial idea that you have. You are unique, even though we are all connected. You have your own point of view and your own uniqueness, and you need to be fearless in that. Justified and judgment, very interesting. You're justified, and you see the future. You see what this can be. You see the potential. That's why you're not walking away. But I feel like if you listen to this negative criticism, that it's just going to prolong this process a little bit longer. That's why you need to go back to yourself. You need to go back to your initial idea. You need to find that fire, that flame within yourself. And that's going to carry you through to the end, because you're almost there. And you can do this, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be lovely. Keep your eye on the future, because you're the one who's creating it. Don't let people drag you down to their level. Okay? So I think that's all I have for you, Group 2. Keep going. You've got this. I love you, sending you love, and I hope this helps you. Again, I just feel like it's a little bit of a tricky week. It's got some obstacles. It's got some a little bit of negativity here, but I feel like you can work through this. I feel like you've got it if you remember who you are. So love you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, Group 3. If you picked the little pitcher or creamer, whatever it is, you're in the right spot. And thank you for being here. So the first card that comes out for you is 38 Remembrance. The frequency of remembrance supports our memory of everything that we have gone through as a soul in body, providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully with and in this life. The blues in here, very reminiscent of, or very connected to our intuition. And I love this. It's almost like a face here, and right here would be like our third eye chakra. So sometimes we come across information, or we have an idea, or it comes across through a dream where we like, I have no idea how I know this, but I just know this. And if you have that kind of feeling this next week, it's time to go with it, to trust your gut feelings. I know I said this was like the third eye chakra, but to understand that there are things that you can know without knowing, basically, because you're tapping into like that larger energy of knowing, because we're energetic beings. So sometimes, we can tap into that because we ask other people. Sometimes we can just ask ourselves, like, does this seem right? Is that where I need to go with this? And it's really trusting your intuition and knowing that. You might want to also look into some ancient cultures if you've been called to do that. This almost looks like the symbolism on this card seems very kind of like Mayan, or Mayan headdress, something like that. So if that resonates with you, you might want to look into some of their teachings, some of their knowledge. If you believe in reincarnation, it may be, and it doesn't have to be Mayan, but if there's another ancient civilization that is calling to you, it may be that you have spent a lifetime in that. And it might be worth it looking up that if you feel inspired to do so. But certainly I feel like trusting yourself is really important. Trusting your intuition, very important. So let's get out some more cards. Okay, very interesting. So we have the Eight of Cups, the Page of Swords reversed, the Ace of Cups, or I'm sorry, this is the Eight of Pentacles. My mind was getting ahead of my mouth here. And then we've got the Four of Cups reversed. I feel like you're looking for something fulfilling. I feel like you're looking for something. And then also Cups is very much related to intuition, like I was talking about. But emotions, intuition. I feel like, yeah, and I'm seeing this like ancient, like bird here. I don't know how that fits in, but certainly, like, it's interesting. That's why I love doing different decks, because it looks like it could be very closely symbolization. We've got the wings here as well. So I love that. So there's something to this. There's something to wings. There's something to your movement here. But I feel like there's something, it's movement for you with your emotions. Like, let your emotions guide you. If something is making you angry, investigate that. Why is that making you angry? If something makes you happy, investigate that as well. Like, why does it make you happy? Be an observer of your thoughts, because I feel like the Four of Cups is somebody, I like to call this the meh card when it's upright, because you're just sitting here. This guy actually has a pleasant look on his face. He is in a, but he's still, right? He's sitting here, he's listening, he's maybe meditating, but he's being like an observer of his emotions. And I feel like he's looking at these ideas, these emotions, what's going on around him, and a new idea comes to him. And I feel like it's very, these two are very much connected. Of course they are, right? Because they're cups cards, but like the idea is being handed to you. An idea that is fulfilling, an idea that makes you happy, an idea that takes you someplace that is joyful. Now, we have the Page of Swords reversed. Usually the Page of Swords is somebody bringing in ideas. Usually it is like a new idea. And a page is somebody who is novice at this. A page is somebody who is brand new at these things. But I feel like ideas have been blocked for you because you're not paying attention to your intuition and you're not paying attention to your emotion. I feel like something is going to happen and you might discount it. Like you have this idea pops into your head and you're like, yeah, but that's not really logical for me to do that. It's not the logical thing. But I feel like the more that you resist it, the more it's going to like keep coming up in your mind. And I feel like you are kind of like resisting it right now. But it just doesn't seem logical for you to go on that path. Like you really want to do something. And you know that you're a hard worker. It's something that you're going to put the work into and you have no problem doing that. But the Eight of Pentacles also says that you can learn new skills. Maybe you are in this job that you've been in and you've invested all this time in and you're like, wait a second, I would be so much happier if instead of my marketing job that I'm into, I go into a nonprofit. And your logical mind is like, what? That's crazy. Why would you do that? And it's like, because it's going to make me feel good. I'm going to pay my bills. It's going to be okay. It's going to make me feel good. And I feel, and I feel like too, you might have like this aptitude towards something that you want to do. And there's no logical reason why you would. You just step into something and all of a sudden like, wow, I'm actually really good at this. There is a gentleman I follow on Instagram who 2 years ago started this pottery company. And it would be something like that. Like you're coming out of the corporate world and all of a sudden you have this, I want to make pottery. And there's part of you that's like, that makes zero sense. Why did we go to like 4 years of college? Why did we do this for you to make pottery? Now, I feel like your other skills in this area will be helpful, but it's follow your intuition, follow where you want to be, follow your use your, how you feel about something for guidance. And, if all of a sudden you're getting this idea like, oh, I want to be a yoga instructor. Well, what? You've never done yoga in your life. Try it, because I feel like there's something in your like past lives or background that is going to reveal this new skill, but it's not a new skill. It's something that your soul has been definitely exposed to and knows what's going on. And deep down in your intuition, you know that you can do this. Even if you like initially are bad at it, I feel like wherever the grass is greener where you water it, right? Stop. And if you keep resisting what you want to do, it's going to be that much harder. And I feel like the Eight of Pentacles is here because you know that you can put in the work and you know that you can develop that skill. And the Four of Cups reversed is here because you've thought about this and it's time to get moving with it. I feel like it's kind of been in a circle here. It's time to fly. It's time to move in that direction. It's time to do it. Don't let other people hold you back. Don't even let your own thoughts hold you back. I feel like this Page of Swords reversed is like your own negative thoughts, the logic coming in. And logic is great. I'm a Gemini. I get logic. I'm very logical. But this is, beyond logic. This is your intuition speaking to you. This is your inner, your higher self, your inner self. And I feel like it's time to tap into that ancient knowledge, and it's available to you. It's being handed to you, literally, like here is this cup, like, twice it's being handed to you. You're not going to have to, it's not going to be as difficult as you think it might be. I think you think that it's going to be super difficult to end up in this position, but it's not going to be, because you've got this background, this, like of a past life where, you really excelled at it, and it's time to explore these things. And then we've got She Who Forgives, Elixir, remorse, guilt, forgiveness. I almost feel like this is related to the Page of Swords, because I feel like guilt, remorse, forgiveness, like and as the Four of Cups, like I feel like there's a clip going around of, who is it? Joe Rogan, who he's saying something like, oh man, I wish I would have started when I was younger. Well, you didn't, MFer. So do it now, get going. Like, that is what's coming up in my mind. Like, okay, well, you didn't start before. Start now, start today. Get rid of, like, I feel like the remorse is almost like you continually not doing this thing that you really want to do. Because you're guilty, like you feel guilty because deep down you can handle this. Deep down you can do this. Deep down, this is your jam. This is your thing that you're going to accomplish and do. And you need just the forgiveness here. What's holding you back is you need to forgive yourself and just go with it. Just do it now. Like, you can do it now. It doesn't matter that you didn't start 6 months ago. It doesn't matter that you didn't start a year ago or 4 years ago. I have a friend who wanted to go to law school, and she was looking at it, and she would need to do it part-time, and it was going to take, how many years and whatever. Well, she wanted to do this 4 years ago. And she's still thinking about, not 4 years ago, I think she wanted to do it 2 years ago. And she's still thinking about it, and it would have taken her 4 years to get through it. And she would have been halfway through now. And now she's just kind of like in this circle, in this spiral of like continually thinking this negative thought about, well, it's going to take so long. Yeah, but the time is going to pass anyway. So you just do it. Like, you thought it was going to take so long 2 years ago, you would have been halfway done by now. But don't hold that against yourself. Just use that as inspiration to push yourself to finally taking those steps and doing it now. And then She Who Sees, Makita, observe, perceive, scrutinize. Look at this headdress. You're an ancient warrior. Look at that. So much about, like, I said, this looks like a headdress, and here she comes out wearing this headdress. You're a warrior. And I know it says scrutinize here, but don't let that scrutiny hold you back. And she goes on and does what she needs to do despite that. And I also feel like sometimes this warrior, like, you can handle it, right? You're good enough to do it. But sometimes that's a burden, because then you're like, I know I can do this, but what if I don't? Oh my gosh, I better not do it at all. Don't let that hold you back. This is not a time to be held back. This is a time for new beginnings. This is a time to, like, come out of this circle of negative thinking that you've been in and get to work. So that's what I have for you, Group 3. I hope this helps you. I hope this resonates, because, like, I'm feeling something magical here. I really do. I feel like this is a level up moment for you. I feel like this is, you putting your best foot forward here, and, really doing it despite all the negative things that you've been telling yourself. Don't let guilt hold you back. Guilt is something that is used to control people. Don't let you guilt yourself. Okay? Let it go. And just, because this Ace of Cups is just, and I feel like the wings here is just freeing. You're supposed to feel light. You're supposed to feel good about this because you can absolutely do this. You're a warrior. So love you, group 3. I hope that you have a fantastic week. And thank you so much for being here with me. And I hope to see you in the next reading.